Questions only about the storm. Please, Katie, go ahead.
Hi, Mayor Mamdani, and I guess for the school's chancellor, just to clarify, the waiver means there will be 99 days of instruction this year. There will not have to be added on. Is that correct?
Yes, and that the city will not have to pay a fiscal penalty.
And is there any indication about whether this would extend into Tuesday, or if there would be remote school on Tuesday if conditions continue? I know things are supposed to warm up by Wednesday, but I don't know if the school's chancellor wants to talk about if perhaps there would be a second day or they would pivot to remote.
At this time, what we're able to share is about our plans for Monday. However, we're going to be doing everything within our power across all of city government to respond to the storm as quickly as possible.
Miles.
You don't know what it is to have a 16-month-old at home with no daycare. Awful. Can you talk to us about, there's been this controversy over the snow laborers and the sort of what some see as onerous need to have documentation. Can you just talk about if that's new and what you make of the controversy?
This is all long-standing. This is a long-standing program and long-standing requirements, and this is a way that New Yorkers get paid to shovel snow in assistance with the city's response to a winter storm event. Federal law requires that employers get authorization and documentation to pay people for their work. We are not allowed to just cut checks to individuals for their work. And these are the policies that we've had in place, but I understand that for many it's the first time that they've ever heard about it.
Thanks, Miles. Amanda, go ahead.
And just before we go, I'm sorry, brother, if you wouldn't mind turning off the flash, it's a bit blinding. Thank you.
I have no flash.
Thank you.
Hi, Mayor. Just following up on my question for yesterday regarding the snow shovelers. Any word on the compensation? That's my first question. And secondly, we saw the death toll from the last snowstorm. How are you ensuring that if all homeless New Yorkers are, back in shelters?
Absolutely. So I'll start with your first question, and I'll go into your second one. So the starting pay for emergency snow shovelers is about $19 an hour. After they work 40 hours through a week, that then increases to about $28 an hour. And thanks to the work of DSNY and so many others, we have expanded the pool of emergency snow shovelers. In the previous storm, we were looking at about 500 emergency snow shovelers. Now that pool has expanded to about 1,400. And you heard the commissioner say about plans for how the first 1,000 of them are going to be deployed between this evening and tomorrow morning. And for our approach during this weather to homeless New Yorkers, we have put our city in an enhanced code blue. Now, what that means is that not only are we going to be rerouting all 311 calls regarding homeless New Yorkers in need of assistance to 911, but we are also opening up 22 warming buses, 11 H&H warming spaces, 13 DOE warming centers, as you heard from the chancellor, and we are also critically keeping our on-point overdose prevention centers open overnight through the blizzard. That's both for this evening as well as Monday evening. The reason that I highlight that as being so critical is a number of New Yorkers in the prior storm and in the prolonged Arctic spell after that lost their lives due to a preliminary indication of overdose related. And so to have these centers open overnight through extended hours that they would typically have, it's critically important as to getting homeless New Yorkers inside. Now, beyond this, what we are seeing is that our outreach workers are continuing to do incredible work. Just yesterday, they made 86 placements of homeless New Yorkers into safe haven sites and shelters. This will continue to be critically important because what we saw over the previous prolonged cold spell is these workers were able to make 1,400 of those placements. Now, New Yorkers have also played a critical role in assisting with this response, and we are trying to make it as easy as possible for those New Yorkers. And so that's why we're going to be sharing the information as to where the warming centers are, as well as what these information is on Link NYC kiosks across the city.
Out of curiosity, were they going to train stations, encampment centers? Like, where were they going to look for vulnerable New Yorkers?
Outreach workers are going across the 5 boroughs. They are traversing it 24/7. They are looking both at sites where homeless New Yorkers are known to be, as well as just going through across our streets, as well as the work that DHS has done to communicate with our partners who are running shelters to be on the lookout outside and in the surrounding area to bring homeless New Yorkers inside.
Thanks, Amanda. Timmy, go ahead.
Question about the travel ban tonight. How will it be enforced? What are the penalties for people who are caught outside?
So the focus here is not on punishment or penalty. The focus rather is on compliance. You know, the last time around in 2017, New York City anticipated a blizzard. It did not come to pass. And so I know for many New Yorkers, sometimes it may seem as if this weather is never actually going to be that bad. However, we only have to look at the year prior to that in 2016 to see what a blizzard is like. And I can tell you on Friday, the weather indication said 3 to 4 inches, then 6 to 8, then 13 to 17. Then 18 to 21, now 18 to 24 with certain parts of our city expecting up to 28 inches of snow. If it comes to pass as is predicted, this will put this snowfall into the top 10 snowfall events in the history of New York City. That is what we are looking at. And so the reason we have enacted a travel ban is to ensure that we are keeping New Yorkers safe, keeping them warm, and keeping them at home. And we are going to obviously have exemptions for first responders, and New Yorkers can go to 311. They can call to find out the entire list. But if you do not have an emergency to leave your home, the bottom line is to stay home and stay safe.
Thanks.
Getting people to be pulled over, and what is the logistics?
The focus on this is not going to be on pulling over individual drivers. It's going to be the utilization of all of city government to keep people safe. And so even for our NYPD officers, so much of their work, as we've delineated earlier in this press conference, will be assisting those who are trapped, assisting those who are in need. What we are, however, saying to New Yorkers is that this is the travel ban. This is the executive order that we have signed from city government. A violation of this is a Class B.
Thanks. Jared, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Going back to what you were just talking about with outreach workers, given the last storm's death toll, have you noticed that people, homeless New Yorkers, are more receptive to it this time?
Well, I can tell you just from yesterday with the 86 placements that we saw in a single day that we are seeing that by providing a wide variety of options to homeless New Yorkers, there is a greater likelihood of success because many homeless New Yorkers are wary of engaging with certain kinds of city services given their experiences in the past. And so that makes it incredibly important that when we reach out to a homeless New Yorker, we don't just tell them that there is a congregate shelter opportunity for them to come inside. It can also be a single room. It could also perhaps be a hotel room. It could also be a safe haven. It could also be a warming center at a health and hospital site. Because I've visited a number of these different sites, and you see homeless New Yorkers respond differently to each of these options. We need to have all of them so that we can keep people safe. And I will also just say thank you as well to our overdose prevention sites, because they have been critical in ensuring that we are tackling one of the causes of a number of deaths that we saw in the prior storm.
We've got time for a few more. Go ahead.
Hi, Christy with CBS. About those outreach workers, is it the same amount as last time? I know temperature isn't as big of an issue this time. Are there more outreach workers, the same amount as the most recent snow? And also trash removal is a big complaint for New Yorkers. Is there any sort of change with getting trash removed sooner, more trucks, any other changes since last time? Big complaint also with the snow cleaning and trash removal.
So typically when we see a winter storm, the temperatures tend to rise after the fact, which assists with a lot of the melting of ice and snow. What we saw, however, with the prior winter storm was a prolonged Arctic spell, the likes of which the city had not seen in a long, long time. And so that actually resulted in the city needing to set up a number of melting sites. We had them in each borough. We actually still have one site still running right now. However, with this blizzard, while it is expected to be increased amounts of snowfall, we are anticipating a better weather forecast in the days that follow. We're looking at the potential of 40 degrees on Wednesday or Thursday. Also being in late February, the effect of the sun is actually far more helpful than it was about a month ago. When it comes to DSNY, in the prior storm, we had about 2,500 DSNY workers working 12-hour shifts. Now we're at about 2,600. That work is going to be supplemented by now more than 1,000 emergency snow shovelers, which is more than doubling the prior amount. And there's also been the procurement of additional mechanics that we have been able to bring in to New York City, additional tools and items that can expedite some of the cleaning processes that we have in our city. Finally, we are committed to ensuring that New Yorkers are able to get around their city no matter what their mode of transit is. So whether you're a pedestrian, you're a cyclist, you're a bus rider, or you take the train, or you drive a car. And so as part of that, we have also expanded our geotagging of a number of sites across the city, including unsheltered bus stops and sidewalks and crosswalks to ensure that we have a better reading of what the response has been. As you heard from the commissioner as well as myself, there will be at least 1 day of delay in trash collection. We are also asking New Yorkers to engage with recycling collection in the manner that they would after specific holidays, holding it for the next week. And this is just because of the fact that the same incredible men and women at DSNY that are doing the work of snow removal would otherwise be doing the work of garbage collection. And so we need to make sure that they have enough time to be able to respond to the snow. And then as soon as they can, they will turn to the garbage, and they will also be prioritizing compost, as the commissioner said, on account of the fact that these are the substances that create those kinds of odors.
And do you have the same amount of outreach workers this time around as the last storm, even if temperature is not as much of an issue? Do you have more outreach workers?
I will get back to you on the specific number of outreach workers. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you.